Hello, I'm glad that you took your precious time to review this course. Thank you. Let's get started. From this course, you will learn how to install Magento 2 version 2.4.6 on a local machine with the CentOS 9 operating system. Let's take a look at the general roadmap on-premises Magento 2 installation. First of all, we need to set up server environment and install one of the supported Linux-like operating systems, Ubuntu, Archie, CentOS, or Debian. This course is designed to be as terse as possible, no water, avoid empty verbosity, only code and its practical application. Let's do everything in order. According to general installation flow, you can find the necessary data in the description of this video. If you use different than recommended OS, you may install virtual machine. In this example, VMware Workstation Player 17. Go to the official website of the application. VMware Workstation Player helps easily run multiple operating systems as virtual machines on your Windows or Linux PC. Download the necessary version of the virtual machine and according to your operating system. Open file after the download has finished successfully. A short description of the installation process. Run the installer, read end-user license agreement, and accept. Choose location for installation, and uncheck the boxes and click Next. After installation, click the Finish button. You may need to restart your PC if prompted. Now we can run the program and configure the virtual machine. For the first time, select Use VMware Workstation Player 17 for free for non-commercial use, and then continue and finish. After that, we can create a new virtual machine. To configure the machine, select the following options. Select I will install the operating system later and click Next. For that, we will download the required OS from official sources in ISO format. Choose Other and click Next. Choose location for virtual machines files. Set maximum disk size in GB. Choose Store virtual disk as a single file. As we can see, the default value for memory is not enough. Let's change these settings for customized hardware. Set the required settings based on the parameters of your PC. I set memory 8 GB and 8 for number of processor cores. And now, important thing. For new CD/DVD IDE item, in connection field, choose Use ISO image file and set its location. We will use this image to install the OS. In this example, it will be CentOS Stream 9. After that, click Close and Finish. Now you can start the machine. Click for that Play Virtual Machine button. After that, the process of installing the operating system from the previously specified ISO file will start. When the virtual machine starts, select Install CentOS Stream 9. Wait until the system loads all the necessary data. Then select the language to install and click Continue. Then select Installation Destination, the device you'd like to install to, and click Done. Set password for the root account, which is used for administering the system. Then confirm password and Done. For weak passwords, the Done button must be clicked twice. We recommend using only strong and complex passwords. Now click Begin Installation button. Wait some time while the installation process takes place. CentOS Stream is now successfully installed, but you must reboot system. Click that button. After system reboot, make some initial settings. And create an account. In the next section of this lesson, we will look at the process of installing the Apache Server. Open terminal and enter commands step by step. Just copy the command from the additional material for the lesson and paste it into the terminal. For your convenience, I have prepared all the necessary commands and placed them in HTML files. You will find access to these files in the description of this video. We installed the Apache Server with the DNF command. DNF command is the next generation version of the yum Yellow Dog Updater modified, a package manager for RPM-based Linux distributions. It allows you to install, update, and remove packages in your Linux system with ease. The first step is to install. Next, start server and then enable to start at system reboot. These processes are extremely simple. Just write the appropriate commands in the terminal and watch the result. Sometimes you need to answer system questions. Write the letter Y in the terminal and press the enter button. Ensure that Apache Server is running. We can see that the server is enabled and active, running. This means that the server has been successfully installed. Magento requires Apache version 2.4, verify version of Apache. Now we can test the server and look at HTTP server test page. Now, for example, let's try to change the content of the test page. To do this, add the file index to the root directory of the server. Make sure you are in the root folder of the server. Use the ll and cd commands to do this. We use the nano text editor and the simplest HTML code. Paste the code into the editor and save the changes. Checking, and everything should work fine. In the next section of this lesson, we will configure setting up virtual hosts in the Apache server. Virtual hosts are defined within .conf configuration files. In this course, I'll be installing Magento 2 on a local domain magento2.loc, so I'll use those settings in following sections. If you will use a different domain, rename the file and change the data in the .conf file. After that, create the document root directory specified in virtual host configuration and set the appropriate permissions. Also, we need to edit the hosts file to point created domain to our local server. Add these lines to hosts file. check configuration for syntax errors. And if you see syntax OK, restart Apache to apply the changes. Now you should be able to access new domain in a web browser. Next step, setting up Apache required directives. Point 1. Set allow encoded slashes in the server config. Point 2. Enable the Apache rewrite module and .htaccess. After making these changes, restart Apache to apply the changes. In the next section of this lesson, we will do PHP installation and configuration. First, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the official sources and Magento tips about PHP and its settings. The process of installing PHP 8.2 on CentOS 9. Step 1. Update system's package repository. Step 2. Check a list of available modules for PHP and then switch to the required version 8.2. Now install required version of PHP. Then install some required PHP extensions. Enter a command that will display a list of installed PHP modules, and then compare it with the list of necessary for the normal functioning of Magento 2 system. For this lesson, I used the modules required for Magento Open Source. For Adobe Commerce, the list of required modules will be slightly different. Check installed PHP version to make sure it's the one you need to run your Magento system. In this lesson, I installed the latest version of PHP at the time of recording the video, namely 8.2.113. It fits us. In the next step, configure PHP FPM, Fast CGI Process Manager. Start and enable PHP FPM with the following commands. After that, ensure that PHP FPM is running. In the next section of this course, I will show you how to set required PHP options. This will allow the Magento system to work normally on your local machine. Find the location of the php.ini file on your system, and then you will need to edit php.ini file and tweak some settings. In this example, the php.ini file is located in the extra folder relative to the root of the file system. So, I open this file in a nano text editor and alternately find and change the appropriate settings. Make the appropriate changes in the settings one by one. After making changes, save and close the file. In the next section of this topic, we will consider the OPcache configuration process. OPcache is a type of caching system that saves precompiled script bytecode in a server's memory called a cache, so each time a user visits a web page, it loads faster. Later in the video, I will show you how to configure this technology on a local server. As you can see, we will even consider some errors during configuration. Let's consider the permission denied error and how to solve it. Also, I'll show you how to find the configuration file responsible for configuring OPcache. After making all the necessary changes to the settings files, you need to restart the Apache server to apply the changes. In the next section of this lesson, we will do MySQL installation and configuration on CentOS 9 and the local machine. First, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the official sources and Magento tips about MySQL and its settings. Magento Open Source 2.4 require a clean installation of MySQL 8.0. Type the following command in the terminal to install MySQL on your local machine. Ensure the MySQL server is running, start your server, and verify its status with the following commands. Confirm the MySQL server release version and upgrade it if necessary. The next big step is the secure MySQL installation. Enter the following command, and then provide answers to the all questions as shown in the additional materials for this lesson. Everything is simple here. You set the master password and make some settings that will increase the security of the MySQL server. In the next step, we will create the database instance for Magento installation. First, log into your database server. Then we will create a user and a database. I use Magento record, for example, in all data. Be sure to replace these values with your own. It is very important. That's it. MySQL server and database have been successfully installed. In the next section of this lesson, we will install Composer on local machine. Composer is a dependency manager for the programming language PHP. It functions as some sort of project manager that helps the programmer manage dependencies that will be used on a project-to-project basis. You need for Magento Composer version 2.2 or higher. Step 1. Download Composer Installer by running the following command in your terminal. Then run the downloaded Composer installation file with the next command. As you can see from the video, if the command is not executed with the necessary privileges, then an error will occur. I will try to do it with sudo privileges. After that, move the Composer binary to the system location. If you receive an error, no such file or directory, then you must create the directory manually before proceeding. But you can place the Composer file anywhere you wish. Verify the Composer version and then test installation by running the following commands. Let's move on. In the next step, I will install search engine Elasticsearch. Before delving into the installation process, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the official sources and Magento tips about Elasticsearch. As of Adobe Commerce and Magento Open Source 2.4, all installations must be configured to use Elasticsearch or OpenSearch as the catalog search solution. You must install and configure either Elasticsearch or OpenSearch before installing of Magento. The process of installing Elasticsearch on a local server looks like this. Step 1. Launch terminal and then install the latest Java runtime environment. Next step, download and install the public signing key for Elasticsearch repository. After that, create and add Elasticsearch repository. Step number 5. Install Elasticsearch package along with dependencies using dnf command. Open Elasticsearch configuration file using Nano Text Editor to edit configuration options if necessary. Step number 7. Enable network access to Elasticsearch service on port 9200 and 9300 from the firewall. Then reload firewall rules and keep state information. Configure Elasticsearch service to automatically start during system boot, and then start Elasticsearch service. To verify that Elasticsearch is working, enter the following command on the server on which it is running. Please note that you will not be able to connect immediately to Elasticsearch. Try to wait a bit and restart the server. After a while, try to repeat the command. After you install and integrate your search engine with Adobe Commerce, you must perform additional maintenance as specified in the following documentation. In the next section of this lesson, we will securing Apache Server and setting up an SSL secured web server with a self-signed certificate. First of all, I will update Systems Package Repository. Then, disable directory listing by default enabled on Apache Server. Then, configure a firewall. So, let's continue. Now we come to a very important topic, which is the installation of Secure Sockets Layer or SSL. In this lesson, I will create a self-signed certificate for clarity and development purposes. But I recommend you to read about installing Snapd and certbot, for example. Certbot is a free, open source software tool for automatically using Let's Encrypt certificates on manually administrated websites to enable HTTPS. The procedure of setting up an SSL secured web server with a self-signed certificate looks like the following. First, getting the required software, open SSL and modded SSL. Then we generate private key, generate CSR, and generate self-signed key. At this stage, you are about to be asked to enter information that will be incorporated into your certificate request. As you can see, I am using test values, but you can use your own values. Then copy the files to the correct locations. Then we need to update the Apache SSL configuration file. Change the paths to match where the key file is stored. Now restart Apache Server. As the certificate is self-signed, browsers will generally ask you whether you want to accept the certificate. At this stage, I'm setting up the virtual hosts for HTTP on port 80 and for HTTPS on port 443. Quit and save the file and then restart Apache. You should now have a site working over HTTPS using a self-signed certificate. And now we move on to the next stage. Set up a proxy for Apache Server. Before delving into, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the official sources about a proxy and related things. Module mod proxy is included in HTTPD package and it is enabled by default, so it's possible to configure quickly. First, make sure you are in the root directory of the web server. Add the following directives, restart Apache, and then verify the proxy. In the next section of this lesson, we get authentication keys to the Commerce Composer repository and download Magento. To install Magento, we need the access keys from Magento official site. Sign in into Magento Marketplace and navigate to My Profile and Access Keys. These keys can be used for authorized downloads of the Magento Open Source 2.x platform, extensions, and themes. Use the public key as your username and the private key as your password. Now log in Server as file system owner. Add record path by next export command. In this lesson, I will download Magento Open Source software using the Composer metapackage. Another option is to clone the GitHub repository. So, log into your server and switch to the Apache webroot directory of your server. Then create a Magento project using Composer and following command. When prompted, enter your authentication keys. Use the public key as your username and the private key as your password. Wait while Composer downloading and installing the Magento repository and modules to the specified directory, namely into a local site. This process is not too long, so you will not have to wait long. Then set files and folders, read-write permissions. After that, you can restart Apache. And finally, we have reached the most interesting moment, namely the installation of Magento 2.4.6 on CentOS and a local machine. You must use the command line to install Magento Open Source. Web installation wizard has been removed. Run the following command to begin the Magento installation process. But first navigate to the root directory of your server. As you can see, an error has occurred. I'll try changing the directory where run a command and try again. Now the process has shifted. And finally, Magento installation is complete. Success! Let's check if the site opens or if the default page is open. Also, does the administrative panel of our store on CMS Magento version 2.4.6 working? Everything seems to be working fine. Thank you for your attention. See you at the next lessons. Bye!